Big gold drinking cup. I fill you up.
Let's have a party.
Woo!
Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? All right. I love Toby Keith, man. He's the kind of guy I definitely go out in the bar and have a drink or 10 with. You know what I mean? And yeah, I know he's had some health issues, and hopefully everything is okay with him. Anyways, let's get back to Iraq. And then also, I just want to touch bases real quickly on, the video I did talking about Melanie. I called and left a message on her phone. Told her we should chit-chat sometimes. So funny is when I reach people, like, how did you get my number? That's always the funny thing. How did you get my number? Remember, I'm controlled opposition. Sorry. I was trying to do that with a straight face, man. I really was. Before we get started, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button. And if you're not a subscriber, please do so. Because when you do, it helps out the channel. And I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, head on over to our friends at Money Metals Exchange. The link will be down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code PIMPYSILVER. Yes, it has changed. PIMPYSILVER. So if you're watching this video and it's an older video, make sure you check on current videos because the code is going to be changing from time to time from now on. Also, I can be found on other platforms. Everybody knows I have my own website, Pimpy's News Network. Over here, I post videos that I can't get away with over on YouTube. Also, I have a group on Facebook called Pimpy's Investment Chat. Over here, we do talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, as well as foreign currency investments. Come on over here and join us. It's free to do so. You can also come follow me on Twitter, MeWe, YouTube, and Odyssey. The links for all these platforms will be down below in the description. So for whatever reason, if I get removed off of one platform, you could find me on the others. So yesterday I was poking a little fun off of some of the reports that were being read by Mel. It wasn't so much that I was targeting her. Like I said, look, there's a niche for people out there that do what she does. It's better than having to try to scramble out there and get all the different news from people when you could just go to one spot and get them all. But somebody said she responded, and I said, what video are you talking about? And they said, it's in the live section. I forgot YouTube has this broken down between live videos and regular videos. And then as I went to scroll down, I noticed something that I'll share with you guys that I think I found a new job for Mel. You guys let me know what you think.
Kick.
Watch these guys in the black and white right here. Look at
It is into
see
the
them
net
hands
for
up.
the victory.
I think that's going to be a new job for Mel, because when I went through here, I'd say the vast majority of them, she's giving the goal signal. I was like, Mel, why are your hands always up in the air like somebody just kicked the field goal? She reminds me of this dude that used to give out news every day. He used to do this, make videos he used to make thumbnails like this. Talking about Trump all the time. It was funny. And I think that's where Mel might have got her inspiration from. Anyways, nonetheless, I did find a video. First of all, when she gets up, whatever lake that is over there, and I love to fish. I was like, man, she's got this lake right off her front porch there. You couldn't get me off that lake if I lived over there. So before we get into quickly the Iraq information, because lots of people had questions about what I was talking about, the 18 things that had to be accomplished. We'll get into that. But real quick, let's just cover a couple of funny things that Mel was talking about.
When you go to God with that and you thank him for whatever you can think, like I give thanks that I have this porch. I give thanks for the sunny day, right? Because it was stormy.
Hey, woman, you want me to make you laugh? Look right over Mel's shoulder and tell me if you don't see a wand. Not every one of you will get that, but some of you will. It should make you laugh.
All day yesterday. I give thanks for my beautiful tree that a lot of you saw if you were on my live.
Don't lie. It looks like a wand. In the background, I'll say some women out there right now looking over her shoulder and going, whoa, a magic wand. You guys know what I'm talking about? One of these back massagers right here. I'm telling you, you could walk into Walmart, Walgreens, and find one of these back massagers right here. All right? So that's what a wand looks like. And I thought to myself, as I'm sitting here and she's doing her video, I said, women are going crazy. Right there in the background, you can see the world's largest wand.
Pimpy used one of my videos on his channel last night. It was
I
hilarious. And you know what's really good? I didn't take offense. You know how big that is for me?
Why would you be offended? I wasn't picking on Melly Mel. I was picking on the information that she was relaying.
Right? Because this is a passion project of me, my work here, and sharing the summaries of the intel with you so you can see where we're at in a concise manner.
You know dang well right now, a lot of you keep looking over their shoulder and you're laughing. You can't help it. I know.
And he actually gave me props about that.
Yep.
He gave me a lot of props for my channel. I'm happy, positive. He compared me to
Yeah.
Santa surfing.
Yeah, okay. You know, I know you're trying to make that a positive thing. That was by accident. That might actually be a negative. So my bad.
I was like, yay. And he was saying, but, you know, and then when I get into my intel, he goes, all she's doing is reading the intel summaries of other people. And he was right. I'm just reading the intel summaries. I don't think
And that's what I was picking on.
he's tuned into me enough to know that I don't rely on man's wisdom. I rely on God's wisdom, which is why God.
Now, Mel, you know I have to call you out on that because here's my question. If you don't rely on man's wisdom, what would be the need to read the articles? Just go out there and listen to God. God will tell you what to say.
God put me here and why God is blessing me with all you folks that are listening. Oh, by the way, I just hit 9.7. Amen. We're close to 10. So
9.7 subscribers. It was just a little over 9.6 before yesterday. Melly Miller's on the road. She's at 9.88 and kicking butt. She'll be at 10,000 by the end of this day.
I don't know how it's happening. So anyways, I watched the entire video before I went to sleep and I slept like a baby. I did. Everybody was like, don't watch it before you go to sleep. I watched the entire thing. Why? I don't fear man's opinion, guys. I don't fear people's opinions of me. And you know, and then I felt bad and I had to ask God to forgive me because I did go a lot of Pimpy. So Pimpy, I sincerely apologize to you.
You don't have to apologize. I hear it all the time. But Pimpy's not a negative Nelly or a negative Nathan. Positive Pimpy.
You just look at it from a different perspective. And we need your voice in this whole thing because
Grounded. Always grounded.
you do have more of a. He said, no, I'm positive Pimpy. But he's not. But
Chua, 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 chua. What do you mean? I'm positive Pimpy.
who he is, right? And so I went on underneath his video and I said, I love you, Pimpy. Thanks for shouting me out. I did. So Pimpy, I really love you. I hope somebody sends you this one too, or that could have been.
I love you right back. Don't get me wrong. I have been in dog-eat-dog debates with people. And it's funny because I've had a lot of people invite me to their show. And when I first get there, they're like really nervous. And I'm like, what are you nervous about? They're like, you know, they have this like, you're going to attack me or, you know, what happens if this doesn't go right? What the hell makes you think I'm going to attack you? I mean, why do people always assume the word? Even if I made a video making fun of you, that doesn't mean I'm going to attack you. That would be your opportunity if you invited me on to have a respectful conversation back and forth, whether we agree or disagree. That doesn't mean you have to be like, oh, you freaking son of a slap. You know, you don't have to do that. As a matter of fact, I don't even like that. For those of you who don't know, Andrew Locks is one of the killer bees from the Wu-Tang Clan. He has his own radio station. So way back in the day when I had the Hidden Things in Front of Your Eyes on Facebook, which was a group that you could talk about all politics and stuff before Facebook started, you know, removing people and removing groups. Andrew had me on the show before we even started talking. He said, look, I got rules, man. And the funny thing is, I was going to say, so do I. And it just so happened that all his rules were the same as mine. And that is, look, we'll have a conversation. We respect each other's opinions. No cussing at each other. No talking over each other. Let's hear each other out. And it was one of the best interviews I ever did. We were very respectful, and we didn't agree on these things. And this was during the 2016 presidential election. He was a supporter of Hillary Clinton's, and I was supporting Trump, and we were explaining why. All right, so it was an awesome 3-hour interview, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm going to have to reach out to him again. I understand not everybody's going to understand who the Killer Bees are from the Wu-Tang Clan. I don't know if he still has a radio show. I haven't checked up on him, but I guess I will. And just see if I can reach out to him. Let's do a follow-up on that, because that was like, 6-7 years ago. So no. This wasn't me being pissy about what Mel was doing. I think, like I said, there's a niche out there for that. She's reading the different articles, and I get it, and she's laying out the main points, whatever website she's gone to, of what each person's saying. For those individuals who don't have the time to run around and listen to all the YouTube channels or reach all the websites, there is a niche for that. And so, it's working for Mel. Mel's kicking butt. She's up there around 10,000 subscribers. I remember when I first got into this, I used to be on Brando's show. Everybody knows this. Brando and Miss April, great people. Me and Brando didn't see eye to eye and kind of went sour, but it is what it is. I stopped being on his show, but I had a ton of people reaching out to me, telling me to give me my own YouTube channel, and that's exactly what I did. But then I all of a sudden realized how catty YouTube is. All the people out there like Frank, you know what I mean? And I had Jeff and all these other people were just bashing me. And I was like, what? Who the hell are these people? And why the hell are they bashing me? And one of the funniest things I remember about Frank 26 bashing me was he tried to act like he didn't want to waste his time even responding to something that I said. And what was it that I said? Around New Year's, they were passing off information in one of my videos as intel. And I was like, everything you're saying is word for word what I said on the video. Why would you tell people it's intel? And then he charged people for it. And I was pissed. So he tried to respond to it. And then he did it in such a stupid way. I ended up bashing the hell out of him. It was just embarrassing for him. Because, look, if you're going to jump in the ring with Mike Tyson, you can't be a person that is going to be boxing for your first time. Look, I'm a pro at this stuff when it comes to debating. And so I thought, this guy's an idiot was my first thought. And so one of the things he did is he pointed down to the number of subscribers I had. I think I had like 1,300 at the time. He just laughed. And I think he had like 6,000 subscribers at the time. And he was trying to say that I was too low on the totem pole to even be responded to. Literally, like 3 months later, I was around 60 or 70,000 subscribers. And so it dawned on me, and I couldn't help but go back and say, yeah, and I pointed down to his little subscribers like this. But, that's just being childish. It's tit for tat, and I try not to do that. The whole thing is, look, we're all out here trying to achieve the same goal. And I said that many times. Look, we're all in the same boat, trying to oar the same way, trying to get to the same destination. It's just that, some people take different paths, and that's fine and dandy. But I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke. By the way, somebody sent me a unicorn wand. It was funny. It had little tassels on it. But unfortunately, in the mail, it broke. So it doesn't look the same. It's shattered. They had it in glass. And I knew what they were trying to send me. But all I had was like a unicorn head. And I thought to myself, that's funny. Because you guys will hear me say, it's not like I'm going to reach in my butt and pull out a wand and sprinkle out unicorn pixie dust. And when I say wand, I'm not talking the kind of wand that's behind her shoulder. I'm talking about a real wand, all right? So it's funny that somebody was thinking about sending that to me, but I appreciate it. The whole thing was wet. The package was unfortunate. Pimpy, where'd you get the list of 18? Well, the U.S. Department of Treasury, let me just put it to you this way. I can't even begin to tell you the number of different government websites I've been to reading this and that about Iraq, trying to see what it is I can find that might be useful or helpful in figuring out whether or not the currency is going to change significantly if restrictions were removed. So I go through there, and there are still some restrictions. So when I say restrictions, people are like, no, there's no restrictions on there. Yeah, there is. You cannot, like I said, you can go to your international currency exchange centers and exchange currencies up to X amount of dollars. You used to be able to go into Wells Fargo and other banks that sell currencies and buy and sell Iraqi Dinar, but you can't do that right now. I think the only bank that's doing it is Chase Bank, and it's at the current rate. But, why? What are these restrictions there for? I talked to a currency person, this had been about almost 2 years ago, who was telling me one of the biggest issues about the Iraqi currency is there was so much fraud involved in it. There's so much fraud cases. And I understood that. And I hear people say this all the time, Iraqi dinar is a fraud. No, it isn't. It's not the Iraqi dinar that's a fraud. It's not the Iraqi dinar that's a scam. It's the individuals out there committing fraud using the Iraqi dinar to do so. We all know that it had a specific value way back in the day. It used to be $3.22 US dollars for every one Iraqi dinar. We know they went into sanctions just like Kuwait did. People often like to compare the Iraqi situation to the Kuwait situation. I mean, in the beginning, I did the same thing until I actually researched into it, and it's not the same at all. I always tell people, look, they're apples and oranges. Sure, both of them are fruits, but they're two different flavors, okay? So it's not the same situation. Kuwait technically never revalued. That's not what happened. They redenominated. The restriction on the currency exchange rate is one thing, but to revalue means they had to change the value of their dinar. It never changed in the first place. It was just a restriction. So the wording that a lot of people use out there is not exactly accurate as I continue to read, not just because of the Iraqi dinar, but also the Vietnam dong and all the other currencies that are out there. I keep track of what it is that people are talking about and how they're talking about it. So when you go through, you read that the value of the Kuwait dinar never changed. All they did is redenominate. And people confuse what redenomination means. They had to change the way the currency looked. Here's a good example. This is a United States $1 bill. You see it? Does it look like that anymore? No, this thing is bigger than a normal dollar bill. This is a $18.99 silver certificate. So when I say redenomination, it doesn't look like that any longer. They changed the image of the dollar. That's a redenomination. Because so much of the currency was stolen, they had no choice but to redenominate it. In other words, change the way it looked. So those who stole the currency cannot benefit from it. And I'm saying that's what's going to happen with the Iraqi dinar. There's too much of it unaccounted for. We know that ISIS took a bunch of it. We know that Maliki and his family allegedly took a lot of it. You have the theft of the century, took a lot of it. We know that Iraq was trying to recover a lot of their currency that's in different nations, that's stored there. They know who's got it. They know where it is. I told you I knew the person that was going to go and collect it all, but they couldn't come up with an agreement on what it is they needed to get paid for, I guess is the best way to put it. Like my friend was saying, like you get greedy people involved and they ruin everything. So unfortunately that happened. But again, way too much currency out there. So there's no rush to do the redenomination. But I gave my opinion, and that was when the time is right and they were going to do the deletion of the zeros. It just made sense to me. At that time, they would just redenominate. They would create new currencies. You can go exchange your old currency for your new one. And why not, while they're doing that, do the deletion of the zeros, okay? They're talking about it all the time. They're going to go ahead and do it. And then you might start seeing the increase in the Iraqi dinar value start to go up in increments like I'm anticipating. Anyways, I read all kinds of articles, and you have to look at all the executive orders, and you have to look at all the restrictions put on them and all the different laws they broke. It's a pain in the boo-boo. But over here, it has Iraq's related sanctions. Technically, Iraq doesn't have any sanctions on it. Believe it or not, that doesn't mean they don't have any restrictions. They don't have any sanctions on them. Now, what I mean by restrictions is, look, you can be without sanctions and still have a restriction on your currency. And that could be something that's imposed not by a government, but maybe by another institution. All right, so this is the Department of Treasury. Yes, that is a government institution, but I'm trying to make a point. Banks can decide that, hey, you're on this blacklist, therefore we're not going to deal with you. So there's different entities out there that can interfere with the economic growth of Iraq, but governments tend to be the biggest one. So I went through here, and you have to read all of these forms. And when I tell you it is not sexy, it is not sexy. There's a lot of reading to do. And so that's what I was doing. As you go through here and read these different PDFs, you can see you can download them, right? And you read what it is that they were doing to Iraq and the types of restrictions that they put on them, the types of sanctions that were put on Iraq. You'll come across on more than one occasion. There's a list of like 18 items that Iraq had to complete before currency restrictions were removed off of them. I have to be careful with the way I'm saying this because technically there's no restrictions on the currency, as far as there are other countries that will allow you to purchase and buy Iraqi dinar. It's just that here in the United States, we have our own restrictions against it at the moment. So when I say restrictions, this is from the United States, not everywhere else. Other people, other countries right now, you can go in and buy, swap all you want. So it's not the type of sanctions, it's more of a restriction that the United States put on there. So there are some things that need to be accomplished, things need to be done, not anything that we haven't spoken about before. Now, I read this article earlier, but only read a small portion of it. But still, I want to bring it up again to show you guys what's going on with the Iraqi dinar's exchange rate. It says, will Iraq's new government reconsider the dinar exchange rate? It says a number of leaders in the coordinated framework, the bloc leading the new Iraqi government, are pushing to increase the value of the dinar in an attempt to support the poor. Yeah, that's why they want to change the Iraqi dinar, because they feel bad about the poor people. Forget the fact that both Maliki and Khazali own banks that deal in currency auctions, and when the currency was devalued, they lost millions of dollars. They did. So of course they care about the poor people. Just as much as the Democrats care about the poor people here in the United States. Yet some argue the measure could backfire. So here we go. So the prominent Iraqi politician and former Prime Minister Maliki called on the government, called on the government of Sudaini to increase the exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar against the US dollar by 5.5% in the coming days, amid warning by economists that such a move could spiral the economy into recession, which is what I said. And the next thing you got to understand is that Sudaini can't do anything about it. He can jump up and down, have a fit, you know what I mean? Do whatever he wants. Change the exchange rate. It has to be done by the central bank. Said the previous government, headed by Mustafa Al-Kadhimi, had launched a financial and fiscal reform plan known as the White Papers, mainly aimed at restoring balance to the economy, reducing the public sector, and investing financial resources in improving public services and developing productive sectors. The White Papers confirmed that the previous exchange rate was detrimental to the agriculture and industrial sectors. So if your country is trying to once again become a economical international power, you have to start from scratch, baby steps. So first thing you have to do is make sure that your sectors that are not related to oil are built back up, because you're relying too much on the oil sector to provide most of the financing for your budget, which is bad because we know that oil prices are dropping, and the 2023 budget is talking about the budget is going to be determined at $75 a barrel. And they're barely at $79. Sure, it's starting to go up now, but at the time it was around $79. So it doesn't take very much for that to get crushed. Oil prices drop like we saw in 2019, and then all of a sudden you're working in a deficit. That's working in the wrong direction for Iraq. In a press statement, the central bank at the time said the structural distortions in the Iraqi economy impoverished public finances and restricted the ability of the reform due to the economic policy leadership and the primacy of politicians' priorities over the economy and its stability. In other words, the greedy politicians were more interested in special interest groups and what it is they could get from everything instead of doing what was right for the Iraqi people. After the reconsideration of exchange rate, a strong current emerged led by a number of politicians. Most notably was Sudaini, who called for restoring the dollar exchange rate to its previous value. Sudaini had argued at the time that the devaluation of the dinar would trigger a revolution of the hungry. That's hyperbolic by politicians, but remember, he was demanding that they change the exchange rate. Back then, despite the wave of rejection, the new dollar exchange rate served a number of local industries that were able to compete with imported goods and achieve self-sufficiency. Imports decreased from 21.5 billion down to 15.6 billion. That's a huge drop, and that's a great thing for Iraq. So it goes on to say over here, it says, once at the helm, Sudaini backtracked. He now argues that the Central Bank of Iraq, which is an independent body, is the authority competent to decide on the exchange rate and that the government cannot interfere. We've been saying this for a long time. I don't care what politician jumps up and down and makes a big scene. It's not up to them. So unless you hear something come from the Central Bank of Iraq directly, then all the talk out there is just speculation and rumors. Okay, you guys? Anyways, that's it for now. Let me know what you guys think. And I should be talking to Melly Mel probably tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a show together. It should be a lot of fun. Anyways, let me know what you think. I'll get back at you later. I'm out.